Well, hello, my beautiful peeps. It is such a glorious retrograde, ain't it? We are coming through with so many challenges, and that's actually going to be one of the focuses today because it's going to answer a lot of questions that you may have with obviously the video title. Now, if you are new to this channel, I do 3 card pull readings just to get a clarification on confirmations for the energy, the topic that we're talking about. So if you want to skip ahead, just like skip like 2 minutes or something. Now, I do want to let you know that, like, maybe I'll just go ahead and start with the topic of the video because that will clarify these cards for you too. So basically, trusting your intuition has a lot to do with inner challenges and external challenges as well. Like the external challenges are going to mirror back your internal challenges. So the biggest thing I can tell you is temperance, holding that uh, that solitude, headstrong, and just being patient as a mother, okay? Because your temperance, being patient with yourself and with other people is such an important tool. I can't even explain that enough. Like, your patience, your inner patience is really what's going to drive you in the world. And I know that sounds a little absurd. Like, well, if I'm just patient waiting for everything in the world to happen, how would things ever happen? It's not really about the circumstances themselves, is more of how you handle them and how you respond to a situation. I think I say that pretty often too though. Like the next card that I pulled was the Ace of Swords. So definitely going back to your strength, your inner strength, and just being able to handle situations better. That's a very, very important theme with your intuition because your intuition is going to guide you and prevent you from falling back into toxic cycles basically. And that's really what these challenges are here for, is to, and I know it sounds a little redundant, but like to overcome the challenges. Like, you go through challenges so you don't have to face more of those repetitive circumstances in the future basically. So yeah, that one might be a little confusing at first to grab a hold of, but the next one I really want to talk about is the King of Cups, which is basically trust. And I know that one's the hardest one to really get into because your patience, you could have patience. You could just come from a patient background because you dealt with a lot as, you know, as a younger person. And so now you just have like this like eternal wisdom of like not isolation, but being okay with being by yourself. And that's where a lot of that will come from. And now the Ace of Swords, facing the challenges and understanding that the challenges are here to benefit you, that's a very hard one. But the trust in the universe, I don't know, that's just me, but I personally, I think I struggle with this one the most because nobody wants to just put their faith into something they can't see. Like, who would want to do that? Really? It's extremely important to understand that your trust in the universe is really what's going to lead you through a lot of the karma, the karmic exchange with other people, and just learning how to deal, maybe not deal, that's a little harsh, but learning how to handle situations better, because we're going to see a lot of repetitiveness. I mean, like, it's inevitable to encounter repetition in the universe, but there are ways to overcome those challenges and prevent them from happening again. Now, that doesn't mean like you that should be your aim and goal is prevention, because you're going to get slammed with reality because the universe is going to challenge you even further if you try to do that, because there's nothing to do with isolation. There's nothing to do with solitude and separating yourself from society. That is the opposite of what we're trying to do. We're trying to handle society better and prevent some of these obstacles from occurring by being able to handle them better. So like you're not going to win from walking away from a situation. Sometimes we do have to walk away from situations. That's a whole other thing, but I mean honestly, for the most part, we can usually tell when we need to walk away from a situation like that. But it's really about your interactions with other people is really where, and I know this sounds a little strange with intuition, like why would intuition really, like why would that be the focus of my intuition? It's really about protection, self-protection, and protecting others and giving them the wisdom and the guidance that they desire and they need for their circumstances, because we're always faced with so much going on in the world. But like, your intuition is a tool, it's a resource. And if it's not handled properly, it you can become a drastic overthinker. If you're not trusting the intuition in the correct ways, like it can block a lot of things in your life. It is 4:55, by the way. So you gotta let a lot of the fear-based element around trusting yourself go, because that is like also the biggest goal and aim that the universe will have for you, is teaching you how to trust yourself. Like, that is its main focus, is to get you to trust yourself. And so you're going to re-experience things until you learn the lesson. Same lesson, different person. How many times have you seen that on Facebook or whatever on social media? Like, we go through the same challenges because we chose to not learn from it. We chose to either run from it, or we chose to basically put it under a rug. Like, if you really want to get through some of this deeper shadow work, one, I recommend going through, like, energy healing, but not just that, but just actually really doing the inner work, because the inner work, it does require a sense of isolation, but you don't want to completely isolate yourself from the universe, because that's just, I don't know, that's just malicious and not always healthy in my personal experience. But at the same time, there are things that we do need to self isolate from and journal down and have some self-realizations, because the self-realizations come when there's no distractions. They come when we're alone. They come when we're outdoors just doing things by ourselves, when we don't have other people around us constantly talking to us. It happens when we're not sitting there staring at our phone all day. So you have to, it's in some forms you do have to isolate, but not to the point where you're just completely removing yourself from society. So there's like a dangerous route that you can take with that sort of thing. A lot of people do that, so that's just why I keep trying to say that and reiterate it. So yeah, there's a lot of the isolation aspect, but it's not about completely self-isolating, because I mean, you're going through these challenges so you can deal with people better, you know? I'm just saying, like, that's not really the main focus, but it will allow you to handle yourself and handle other situations a lot more healthy, or healthier, I should say. A lot more healthy. I don't think that's. Anyway, so really understand that, and I say this a lot, I know. I say a lot of things a lot. But you have to just go through it. Like, you have to let yourself experience it. The one thing I really tell, if my friends are going through something hard, like a breakup, a bad breakup, or faced with like specific challenges dealing with family members that are toxic or anything like that. Like, I basically, and I know maybe this sounds harsh to a lot of people, but I basically tell them, like, you gotta sit through the pain. You really have to sit there and feel the experience. Feel your feelings. And maybe that's cheesy to a lot of people. It's like, oh, I don't want to feel my feelings. Well, maybe there's a lot of things that you're not ready to face, because you understand how easily you can become triggered when a situation isn't going the way that you want it to. And that's like the biggest thing to also face too with intuition. Sounds strange how they go hand in hand, but you're going to basically learn how to respond to other people better by trusting your intuition, because you'll have this like inner guidance, almost like an inner warning, but not necessarily a warning, but it's like tips, it's like tidbits on how you should handle the situation. It's there to give you advice on how somebody's going to react or respond to you, and it allows you to become much more patient with yourself when you actually sit with these emotions and sit with these feelings. And you can actually, basically, for the most part, never really become triggered again. And maybe that's tooting a horn or something, but like I really do believe that there are things that we can overcome so we don't have to face those challenges repetitively. And that actually has a lot to do with timeline jumping. I know that sounds strange too, but you can jump through a lot of obstacles by basically saying that you don't want to be a part of that lifestyle anymore. Like you don't want to be a part of hookup culture. You don't want to be a part of toxic isolation. You don't want to be a part of not loving yourself. You just don't want to associate yourself with those things, and those sort of like statements, hard statements. I mean hard as in like you're committed to them statements, like when you actually are sitting there being real with yourself, and those are the things that you do not want to deal with anymore, the universe will respond to that and allow you to jump over a lot of these obstacles so you don't have to keep re-experiencing the same traumas and the same pains. Now, that doesn't mean that you're never going to face things specifically again. There are going to be obviously always some sort of challenges. I mean, there's life and death cycles that we got to deal with, man. So like you're going to experience pain. I'm not trying to tell you that, just not basically jumping all these timelines is just going to allow you to never have to face challenges again, but it's going to allow you to understand and take a lot more breath in when you are going through things and when you are re-experiencing things. So for the most part, especially with relationships, you won't have to keep going through repetitiveness, and then you can really get into like meeting your twin flame, your soulmate, your soul partner, however you label that sort of thing. Like when you start to realize that you don't want to be a part of the toxic culture, and you really start facing that and understanding that part of you, like there's definitely some deep inner work that you have to face, but that's a lot of the intuition challenges that I'm talking about. So going with karmic relationships, karmic situationships, that's not even just relationships, that's just situations with other people. Like when you're around like a job that you don't like, and there's somebody constantly belittling you and basically just giving you a hard time at work 24/7. When you finally rise above that sort of challenge, one, obviously we all need a job, but two, we do not have to put up with toxic people, toxic instability. Really, we don't have to put up with that in order to make a buck. I know maybe maybe that one's going to be a little bit harder to discover because a lot of us obviously do need money, but there's a lot of the things that we like trap ourselves in a terrible 9 to 5 just because we don't understand that we can leave that sort of comfort zone. Now, going back though, because I just want to let you know, like, the intuition is going to help guide you through these types of challenges. The challenges aren't necessarily the focus of the video, but your intuition is here to help you basically. So, trusting your inner guidance, trusting your inner wisdom, and don't let it over consume you, because you can really get high into your spiritual ego, which is, in a lot of ways it is okay. But really, if you're going to be real and honest and raw with yourself, we're all humans. And even if you have like the greatest sense of intuition, you're super psychic, like a lot of these things, like you can end up on a different path because you were misjudging somebody based off of experiences rather than honest, raw intuition. So like understand the difference between emotions and feelings and your intuition, because sometimes we get triggered and our emotions and our feelings can feel like intuition, but it's really just a fear element, fear and doubt element, and your intuition is what's going to allow you to trust versus the fear. So if you have doubt, that comes from trauma. If you have trust and love and you understand that the universe has your back, that comes from a much more authentic place. So that's one way to really differentiate between like the trust process. And then the challenges. I guess we already talked about the challenges because they're very important to go through, and sometimes it's just really hard to accept that. But your patience, if you're not that great of, if you're not that great at patience, if you're not that great at, understanding other different types of personalities, then you're going to face a lot of challenges until you just kind of reach a breaking point. That doesn't go for everybody. Not everybody has to go through that process of like getting torn down into little pieces. That sounds so harsh, but it's really what happens. Like your ego gets broken into little tiny pieces at that point. So the patience element is very important if you don't want to go through more trauma, like and pain and just frustration. Like it's better to just be patient, and if somebody is really a challenge and they don't, like, you may just be dealing with like a narcissist or somebody who's just not capable of seeing the things that you're seeing, then walk away from the situation, obviously. But that's based on the individual. But your patience, your temperance is really going to be important if you want to overcome a lot of the challenges and accept the things the way they are. Because we can get a lot of more of the observer aptitude. I don't know why that wanted to come out, but attitude is what I was trying to say. So when you get into the observer attitude, you don't have to worry so much. You're much easier at responding versus reacting. You can hear somebody better. You can hear their words and listen to their words better. And versus like, not being patient. Obviously, we're going to react. We're going to get in defenseful mode. We're basically going to go back into another karmic loop, karmic cycle. So that's very, those are like the three, I think honestly the three main ones with intuition. Like obviously there's so many other things that you can do for yourself, like intuition test. Which actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and do something like that because I haven't done an intuition test in a while. Let's just go ahead and yeah, I'm gonna go and pick a crystal. Actually, let's just do this. Let's shuffle the cards and we will do an intuition test with these cards. Now, these are not the three cards that I pulled. I did put them back in the deck. You're gonna like this one. So, in the comment section down below, intuition test, guys. In the comment section down below, write the card that you think I am holding. I will do a reveal at the end of this video, which is actually pretty soon. But I just want you to test your intuition, because this is for you. This isn't for me. This is for you. So test your intuition. What card am I holding? I really feel like somebody's going to get this one. So, yeah, like your intuition is a really great best friend if you treat her right. So treat your best friend right because she's on your side. When you see red flags about somebody, trust your intuition. Trust the path that you're going on. And trust the universe because the universe is going to get frustrated with you and it's going to poke at you because you didn't listen to the mother. So, try to let down some of those walls and become a little bit more vulnerable. And that will ease you into your intuition really easily. Maybe not really easily, but it will make it an easier process because then you'll be able to bring your intuition to other people. This is the other challenges you'll face with your intuition because it is a tool. It's not just something that you can use for yourself. You can use it for other people to help other people. Not everyone is intuitive. A lot of people will say they're intuitive and lie to you. Some people will be completely and highly intuitive and have no idea. So that's something important to remember too. Just because somebody tells you that they're spiritual doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be the spiritual guru that you were expecting or idolizing. Because there's no real defined path when it comes to this sort of thing. So understand that one too, because that's going to be really important when you're going through and getting readings from other people and getting guidance, especially on important things like fertility, marriage, stuff like that. Now I do those type of readings, but I do require like forms of payment ahead of time, and I require you to trust the intuition, because sometimes people will also come to you for intuitive guidance and will not like the answer that you give them, and so they'll basically fight you over the things that you said, and that's not always the case. That's kind of a more of isolated type of case. Really doesn't happen as often as you think it would, but it's just another one of those things. But again, like your intuition, you can use it as a tool for other people to help other people, and you can create abundance that way, like through doing tarot readings, divination, my handy dandy crystal ball here. You can do a lot of intuitive guidance. There's some gunk on here. You can do a lot of intuitive guidance. Just being able to trust yourself is going to be the first challenge that you overcome, and that will lead you to the path of creating abundance through spiritualism. And yeah, a lot of people will tell you that it's toxic, and I deserve free readings and blah blah blah, and it in a real reality, we're here in between worlds. We're here between the spiritual and the physical. So that's really what 5D is all about. Being in the in-between and understanding much more about humanity. That's really the ultimate goal here, is understanding humanity better. So, bringing that all together, you can use your intuition as a guide for yourself and for others. It can help you become much more patient with dealing with situations, and help you become stronger and much more trusting and much more happy. Because when you understand it, and it goes back to, and I'm not a religious person, that may sound strange and crazy to some people, but like, I'm not a religious person, but a lot of people will go back towards their religion, and that's like their backbone, is that I know that God has me, I know that source has me. That's pretty much my identifier, is God, source. I know that energy has my back. So even though I may be going through something hard right now, there is going to be a light at the end of the tunnel. You can't have the bad without the good. You can have the good without the bad, the light, the dark, as above, so below. So, in a sense, I am probably on some type of religious radar, but I don't really believe in labels. I'm a nerd like that. So, I hope this video reaches the right people. I hope it answers some of your questions about intuition and how to overcome some of these challenges. If you have any questions or want me to cover anything specific with intuition and how to overcome specific challenges, leave them in the comment section down below, because sometimes it's hard for me to identify specific challenges unless somebody asks me for specific advice. So I love you guys. You guys have a great retrograde and hang in there. So I totally just realized I almost forgot the card reveal. Would probably help. So you guys, it was the Wheel of Fortune. So hopefully somebody got that right. I hope you guys comment before you actually see the end of this video, because that challenge was for you. It wasn't for me, it was for you. So love you guys. Let that be a sign.